It was really invigorating to skate on Canada's 150th anniversary of Confederation Rink on Valentine's Day 2017. An added bonus and unexpected surprise was the chance to cross-country ski on Parliament Hill with Canada's 29th Governor-General, Her Excellency the Right Honourable Julie Payette. She speaks 6 languages, plays piano, sings, and is an astronaut who worked with a crew on the International Space Station. All of this, and she's a strong cross-country skier. The duty of the Governor-General is to represent the Canadian monarch, currently Her Royal Highness Queen Elizabeth II. Thanks to former Canadian Senator the Honourable Nancy Green-Rain, we have a National Health and Fitness Day in Canada. She has been named Canada's Female Athlete of the 20th Century and received the Order of Canada. What a delight it was to be on the same track with these active outdoor enthusiasts. It was equally great to mingle with ambassadors, parliamentarians, educators, and school children enjoying a fun fitness outing.
Thank you to all of the different directors of the initiative, all of the volunteers. It's so important at this time that we not only gather together in support of our winter athletes who are competing so well in Korea, but also that we tell all Canadians that we need to, even if we're not going to be Olympians, be physically fit.
Go right in.
General, can we start?
We're following her.
My father was a member of the Canadian military and fought in World War II along with his younger brother Ed. These 2 men were as naturally active as any you will ever meet, and their military training gave them strength and endurance that last throughout their lives. They had the ability to make grave situations lighter, and with that quick wit and genuine compassion, they had a lot of friends. Dad was strong and steady on skis and scored high marks for accuracy with a rifle. Uncle Ed joked that he had a license to operate an army tank before he got his license to drive a car. He played a solid round of golf and enjoyed curling and singing well into his mid-80s. He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He has loosed the faithful lightning of his terrible sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on.
The skis they're using are backcountry, cross-country skis. So they're designed that they don't have to have the special boots on. They can just go right onto their normal mucklucks.
On.
And they're wider and have more of a metal grip edge on the side.
Yep.
So you know when you would ask me about like if when you're a different trade other than infantry, if you still do the same soldier skills, these guys are a perfect example. So EME guys like vehicle techs, weapons techs, they're competing on the same team as the infantry guys.
Oh, okay.
So they have the same soldier skills as the infantry guys.
Right. You guys going to do well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay, and this is a mixture of soldiers from the battalion?
It is.
Different
It is.
companies
It's
now?
mainly made up of EME.
Okay.
We have our MATO, our maintenance officer, our ET, and the rest of maintenance and a few infantryers scattered through it.
And like I said, the boys' spirit's pretty high that they're going to do well.
A lot of camaraderie. I mean, win or lose, we're still going to do well.
Well, I'll let you get going with your team there, Master Corporal. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Master Corporal.
You all look like winners to me.
That's what my mother tells me.
A lot of expectations are on these soldiers to do well, and
Yeah, basically they have their unit's best interest.
they finish well in this, not only do they get bragging rights that they beat the infantry units, because we have 1 in 3 RCR, which are the big infantry units here, and everybody else wants a title that said, "Hey, we're more fit than you guys." So there's a lot of I guess anxiety and the competitiveness.
A lot of things riding on it, yeah. Yeah, and I guess 8-kilometer route and a couple of stops.
There's an 8-kilometer route. They're basically going to travel down the route about a kilometer and a half. Then they're going to get stopped, and they'll be given 8 targets to shoot at, and they'll be given the distances, and they're only given 15 minutes for 8 people to fire 8 rounds apiece. So 64 rounds in 15 minutes is a bit of a condensed time, which forces a little bit of leadership from their team captain to make sure that they're able to perform and make it to the end.
Okay. How many teams will be going today?
A total of 6 teams.
Okay.
And how many in each team?
8.
8. Okay. That's great.
However, when they were training, they originally had 10 to 12 people, so they had spares, and we've already had to rotate in and out a few guys to make sure that they're all able to.
Do people volunteer, or are they?
Yeah, everybody's a volunteer for the most part.
Yeah.
I'm sure a few teams had a nominal draw and said, "Hey, you're coming with us," but usually it's all volunteer because everybody wants to represent their unit and have a good go.
To be afforded an opportunity to spend time with our troops was a privilege for which I am very grateful. While I photographed the friendly competitions, I remembered my dad's upright posture, long, purposeful strides, and an air of confidence that had his comrades moving in time with ease. During more than 4 decades of serving members of the military in my barbershop, I have found that Canadian Armed Forces troops, their families and personnel are strong in will, sound in mind, and true in spirit. They train daily to build their stamina and strength for the many arduous tasks that they are required to perform as peacekeepers, peacemakers, and as disaster relief specialists. All of that training pays off abroad and at home. My parents and a lifetime of health and fitness education taught me that staying strong and healthy is a duty for all Canadians. Being at Garrison Petawawa was a good reminder to stand tall and move forward with a purposeful stride and genuine self-respect. When the Chinook helicopters and His Excellency the Right Honourable Governor General David Johnson arrived at Garrison Petawawa, I was able to capture the ceremony. It was His Excellency who suggested that Canadians should write their story for the Canada150.ca website, and I thought it was a great idea. He said, "Tell your story as though you were speaking to someone who had never seen your community." My research for a book about the history of Renfrew County had already begun, but hearing his request made me think of the viewing audience differently. The story now includes the author, family, friends, and comrades, naturally active in the county of Renfrew. We work willingly together each day to serve Canada and other nations, each in our own special way. Writing about more than 150 years of growing our roots in a sometimes harsh land is a story worth capturing and sharing. To see the new hangar at Garrison Petawawa built for Chinook helicopters was a memorable moment for this writer. Thinking of leaving the ground with those thin rotor blades carrying the heavy craft and its cargo at speeds up to 350 kilometers an hour was exhilarating. knowing their possible destinations brought me back to the stark reality of their intended purpose. On May 2, 2012, the 450 Tactical Helicopter Squadron was re-established to fly the Canadian Forces CH-147F Chinook helicopters. The squadron is based at Canadian Forces Garrison Petawawa and reports to One Wing, Kingston, Ontario. One of our many natural resources and a good neighbor to the County of Renfrew is Algonquin Provincial Park. It was established in 1893 and is the oldest provincial park in Canada. The park is a playground for nature lovers who travel from all over the world to enjoy animals in their natural habitat, to hike in old-growth forests, and paddle or swim in pristine waters. We all do our very best to keep it that way, and a visit to the Department of National Defense Fire Department shows us that with the right education, training and equipment, lives and resources can be saved. As I captured the daily training exercises required of the Department of National Defense firefighters, I reminded myself that many are called, but few will answer.
So will they get out first, or will you spray it first? Okay. So on the route to the fire, someone's already told you, or you're aware of the wind conditions, and you know exactly where to approach from?
We basically get on scene and we analyze what we have in the sense of when we we come out, sometimes they'll tell us, but we'll just, as we're pulling up, we'll see which way the smoke is rolling,
Okay.
and then we try and use the wind to our advantage on situations like this.
All right.
We want to go 3 sets with the foam. It puts the rescue blanket down, so that it snuffs out all the gas fumes and puts the fire out, smothers it from the oxygen. And then these guys will generally go out with a hose line and they'll make entry into the building or into the aircraft and try and rescue any victims that are there, or maintain a rescue path for people that are evacuating the aircraft at that time, trying to put the flame and the fuel fires out.
And great group of people. 70-year-old couple. Look at that.
You know what you'd really like? I'd like to get you nice pictures is Borden.
Yeah, I bet, huh?
The big pits.
I'm only concerned about the one that's pointing in my direction.
Hey, grab that nozzle. Shut off.
How often do you train, like go out for
Crews train
practices?
every day.
Every day?
Yeah, we have to train every day.
Okay.
We're one of many departments throughout the world because we're national defense. This is a national defense station. CFB Trenton is a Canadian Forces base that has military firefighters. So there's about 500 to 600 civilian firefighters, and then there's another 400 Canadian Forces firefighters. So I think there's maybe 15 to 20 stations through Canada. Then we got guys on ships for the aircraft, and we have guys in Afghanistan, over in Dubai. Or if you take a city of Ottawa, for example, they have all their stations in the city, obviously, but there's different stations that do different taskings. Okay. Like one station will be dedicated to water rescue for the city. Another station will be dedicated to hangar rescue, and then there's a station for hazardous materials responses.
Right.
So they have stations that specialize. We don't have that luxury here. So all the stations in D&D, we're all trained to do everything. So we have a hazmat trailer here. Our firefighters are trained for hazmat, hangar rescue, confined space, structural firefighting, crash rescue, difficult rescues, and like everything.
Did you say you are the only crash rescue unit in Eastern Ontario? Or?
Well, yeah, for national, there's two. There's CFB Trenton and CFB Petawawa. We have crash response. CFB Borden has 1 truck. We have 4, and we're getting another 5.
And crash response would include not just vehicular, but
Aircraft.
Yeah.
Aircraft fire. It's called ARF, Aircraft Fire Rescue Firefighting.
Okay.
So, like.
Well, that's good to know.
Our firefighters are trained to actually make entry into an aircraft. Where Pearson International Airport or Ottawa don't make entry into aircrafts.
Shortly after I finished my video capture with the firefighters, a lightning strike started a forest fire at Garrison Petawawa, and increasing winds threatened to spread the raging fire into Algonquin Park.
Fire's created its own storm. We got heavy winds now. Fire's drawing all the oxygen and air in. It's hot.
Campers in the park were evacuated by the Ministry of Natural Resources, and ground traffic was rerouted, while aerial firefighters did their part to contain the fire. Thankfully, it was extinguished before it reached the park line. If it happens on the base at Garrison Petawawa, these courageous firefighters are there to help. Anywhere, anytime. What do our Department of National Defense teams do when they are not in training? They work out. They also compete to see who among them is the most fit. As a young girl, I learned from my Aunt Bridget that the soldiers who were on the troop train that crashed with her passenger car in Almont in 1942 stayed with her, giving blankets and words of comfort as she lay in the cold snow, waiting for emergency and medical personnel to arrive. Matt Beattie, a well-known composer and entertainer at that time, got a newspaper clipping from his mother telling him of the tragic news. He was serving with the Army overseas, and from the news article, he wrote the train wreck at Almont song. Matt was the very first inductee into the Ottawa Valley Country Music Hall of Fame. He passed away on June 14, 1982, 5 days before he and his Melodiers were to play for Buster Brown's dance recital. His artistic endeavors inspired me to write and compose this musical tribute to him. When Matt Beattie sings in heaven, we can hear it here on earth. All we need to do is listen and the air fills up with mirth. As we listen to the love that flows in each and every line. His lyrics tell us stories of a time that was so fine. He had a gracious countenance like none I've known since then. And when I hear him singing, I can see him smile again. All I need to do is hear his songs about our native land. And my feet tap out the rhythm while the spirit moves my hands. When he sings about the old Almont train wreck, I sing along. For every time I hear that song, my heart goes out to all the souls who lost their lives that night. Aunt Bridget, she was saved by the soldiers who gave comfort as she lay there and just prayed. Mac's music will live on in us and we will listen well. To tales about our county we will waltz and we will tell of a man who gave us history with poetry and song. And we'll cuddle close and giggle as we try to sing along. When Matt Beattie sings in heaven. Mac wrote volumes about our county of Renfrew and the Ottawa Valley, and much of what he recorded is still played on radio today.
And good afternoon. You are listening to Pickin' and a Thinking with me, your host, Devin Black. And to start off today's show, we have one of the Valley's greatest, best, and most well-regarded songwriters. We're going to start today's show off with the legendary Mac Beattie and Log Driver's Song.
There's a valley I know where the tall embers roll, where the Ottawa River flows swiftly along. In the spring if you go where the headwaters flow, you will hear this old log driver's song. Yo, hip, hip, ho, keep the logs on the go, keep them rolling and twisting and sending